Yep.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Welcome to the October 14th, 2002 Town Board meeting. Everybody rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, you might notice that Phil isn't here today. He's out on a well-deserved vacation. So I'm going to be running the show tonight. Bear with me because I'm probably not as smooth as he is. So anyway, we started off with, any visitor here that would like to stand up and have something to say, please come forward at this time. Please state your name and your address.
Yep,
For the record.
my name's Bonnie Fucci. It's legally Betty Fucci, but people call me Bonnie. 36 Killock Avenue. I'm behind Ted's Fish
Yep.
Fry. And my house is right next to where a guy from downstate bought some land to buy a house and sell it. On land that's never had anything built on it as long as I've been alive, and I'm almost 70. So, and it's really wet. And I was really surprised it passed the perk test. Even Bill Bradley was kind of surprised. It's just a really wet piece of land. But the biggest problem I have is just that I don't think that the town pays attention to existing properties and what's happening when new development goes in, especially maybe a small house like this. I mean, I've been to the meetings about Hannaford and Price Dropper and everything. I think they pay a little more attention because they're bigger. But, I didn't know for probably a month that the plan was to pipe all the water from their basement, the sump pump and stuff, directly down to a pipe that my dad put under the road to the land we own across the street. Back in the 60s, he put it in before the roads were paved. And but I own those 5 lots. And the plan was actually for this guy to pump the water over there. And so when I found out, and I started with the code guy, and then I, ended up with Bill Bradley. So now I guess they're going to try to dig a ditch from where it comes out on my land and go down and then turn the corner and go over to Woodward to an existing storm drain. But, is that going to happen? I just don't know. It's been put off a couple times for various reasons, vacations and so and that with COVID, et cetera. But the other part of that is that the contractor at some point, I didn't know he had pipes underground that were going when he had when he's working there, he turns a pump on that pumps the water out. At this point, he's pumping it in the road because the town said he could just pump in the road until we resolve this. But he's got another pipe underground that I didn't know because it was kind of buried until it kind of eroded and made this big pool. And that's actually about 6 feet from my septic system. And I'm a retired person. I don't want to have to put a whole new septic system in just because somebody's not paying attention. So, I just dug about a foot of the pipe up and redirected it and told the guy, look, I moved that pipe. You can't, but it had been going on for about a month and a half, So I guess I just feel that I wish that the town would really protect the people that have lived there. We've been there, my family, more than 100 years. I just feel like now I have to be paying attention, constantly calling Bill, which I'm sure is driving him crazy. And if he doesn't answer the 3rd or 4th call, then I show up at the hall. I show up here to try to find him. But I just want it resolved. And I just wish that when the town's approving plans, they kind of either involve the person next door or really paid attention to, well, really, should we be dumping all this water from an extremely wet property onto this land? I don't have anything built on that land, but that doesn't mean I want it to be a swamp, So that's my story.
I understand
I'm
that.
frustrated.
Yes, I
Yeah.
understand that. I
And I'm
understand.
a woman. Men
Oh,
don't
well,
listen
stop.
to women. I'm sorry, but they just don't. You know, I'm an old woman that goes, and, you know,
I
no one's-
kind of understand that you've been dealing with Bill Bradley on
Yeah.
on this.
Yeah.
And he told me that he kind of didn't want to start ditching right now on your land because it's the time of year probably not to do that. But he is willing to do that and clean that up and ditch it out better for you if you're, you know, okay with that.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that's
mean,
not really what he told me. The guy that's doing the project, whose name is Evan, who's better, the first contractor knocked down a pole and everybody in the neighborhood's lines went down. So that took 12 hours of beeping trucks outside to fix. And then 10 days later, the same people started a bonfire at night. And it was moving out because they didn't clear the land around the edges. Of course, the fire trucks came. So they got a new guy who's very efficient. I talk to him almost every time I see him. And he's willing to put a ditch, to fix the ditch that goes to the pipe that's on my, you know, where my house is.
Yeah.
And then the town's supposed to grab it on the other end and, you know, ditch it out.
Well, and what I
He
understand.
said
that-
he was doing it 2
I-
weeks ago, and then he said he didn't want to bring the trucks down until they're putting the guy's water lines in.
Yeah,
So I'm
Well-
just waiting, but you know, if you wait too long, then you can't do it, you know?
well, I'll see.
Yeah, okay,
We'll see what we can get done.
that would be helpful, yeah.
All right, thank you. Anyone else would like to come up and, state your name
Right on the X.
and address?
I'm Lewis Hutter, 228 White Church Road, Town of
Went
Brunswick.
a little too fast for me.
Oh. Lewis Hutter, 228 White Church Road,
Thank you.
Brunswick. Came with two things. Came to compliment Phil, so he's not here. So do I do that to you?
You could give it a go.
The newsletter Phil wrote about two-family houses. He wrote an excellent newsletter article. It illustrates our problem and what we're trying to do to fix it. I didn't find anything wrong with it, which is a great compliment, I think. I got two things to add. What's left out is pretty much the people that are just complaining about. They don't care about the town. They come in, they do their stuff, they sell their property, they go to Florida. They just take out what they can and leave us with what's left, because once you build something, it's permanent. And probably why they said they're gonna, we're working on it. The other thing I noticed in our zoning, we have planned development districts, but we got no guidance on it. That was a comment I had when we did the comprehensive rezoning. The developer gets to put in a planned development district, but we don't say what's good or bad or anything. And we probably should have that codified so that we don't have lots of public hearings, everybody complaining. And usually what the developer wants to do is he wants to put all his houses together because half the land is unusable. And this way you can get more houses on the property that he bought. And they're usually off by themselves. They drive onto our public roads and drive back. You don't see anybody. They're not really part of the town because they're off in their little enclave. So, it's a compliment in addition. The other one is I got a request, July 15th, thunderstorm we had, and we had all the flooding. Under 351 by the ball field, the road and field, that culvert seems to be having a problem. It's twice in 10 years that it backed up, flooded the whole area, and came over 351, floods everybody's area, and then flows back into the stream. Well, every 10 years is not really an extreme event. So obviously DOT has something wrong with the culvert. It's undersized, it's clogging something. But just on a simple basis, you got the stream, it backs up, fills the whole field, comes over 351, which is 3-4 feet above the stream on the west side of 351, and flows back into the stream, which tends that you got a constriction that's making the water take the long path. Literally 351 at the dam, it goes over 351. So you got the equivalent blockage where the culvert is. People complaining to DOT, it's 1-2 people. The town illustrating it to it, and get results. So is there, I guess, a way that, I don't know who would be in charge of it? I can see him out at the area, explain it all. Phil knows of the flooding because
Well, we've been having a problem with the beavers down and back, they're down around the ball fields and stuff where that drains out of there. And the beavers get in there and plug this stuff up.
by Bowden Field.
Yeah, no, not there, down, but it runs down behind over 351 down through and should end up down by the ball field, down farther where our ball fields are, I do believe.
It's not our ball fields, it's the church's ball field.
Right.
Bowden Field with the flagpole.
Well,
it's-
that,
Yeah.
I live on 351 and that was about the first time that I ever saw that. And since I've been there, that I saw it as bad as it was.
It happened
We
during
saw it
Irene.
there in the Irene storm, and then the other day it was, because I couldn't get home either. But, and then one on White Church Road, it looked like there was a new culvert that we put in there. We didn't put in there. Well, we did put it in there, up off the end of White Church Road, up by the Polly's.
White
up
Church,
there.
White
And-
Church Lane.
Right.
It's
And
confusing.
then that really washed out pretty good on this last thing, although I did see that the DOT was in there and took care of a lot of the dirt and rock and stuff that had come down just recently. So it's not like they're not aware of the existing problems that happen with the water. But these are, 100-year storms and they're kind of hard to,
Well, Twice in 10 years
they're
is a
supposed to be
little less.
100-year storms, so
Yeah.
you've seen two of them. So, know,
That's where the problem is. Every 10
that's the
years
problem.
is-
I mean,
is-
it's awful hard to, determine where all this stuff is going to happen, but it has happened. And
Well, DOT will investigate it. They'll have a hydraulic engineer say that's going to be made.
Exactly.
But, or there's other people that
But
do it.
it's,
And if DOT has deficient culvert, they'll come in and they'll fix it.
Yep.
They're responsible. They accept the responsibility.
Yep.
If their culvert's not a problem, they'll tell the town. But we do need somebody to go to the DOT. If it comes from the town, it's better than one homeowner.
Right.
I had a couple homeowners ask me to come up and talk about it because like White Church Lane is cut off. You couldn't get to White Church Lane. So for 12 hours, no emergency vehicles and so forth.
Right.
Because the one rule of there's water on the road, you don't drive through it. DOT should have closed 351. But when they do the flooding, raises the groundwater of everybody. Everybody's basements floods. Groundwater comes up into the basement.
Yeah.
And the house with the circular driveway, he's the teacher, Eric Medved. He had his house sold. Day before the house inspection, he flooded.
Mm.
Well, there goes the sale, and he
Yeah.
can't sell the house now.
Right.
Right. So it is costing people quite a bit of money, and every 10 years to have to do this is a problem. Now, if it's a clog hole, the DOT will, they'll do something, they're very responsible. But I have somebody, I know there's a public works guy come out and we explain it to
Well,
him. and
I could talk to, Bill about could be
Yeah.
done there.
Phil was there, and I
Yeah.
can explain to him, okay. So I'm a hydraulic engineer. by
There's
the way.
no doubt that we know that it,
It floods, but it's like, okay, you got this problem, and it'll take 5 years. They don't do anything quickly, but they will. If they are causing a problem, they fix it.
well, we'll take a look.
So is anybody going to contact me eventually, or
Why
should I
don't you leave your
contact somebody?
information, your contact information so somebody can get back to you?
Okay, I'll write it down and
Give it to
Sorry.
the clerk.
give it to the boss. Okay, thank you.
Super.
Very good. Anyone else at this time?
Good evening, Mr. Christian.
Good evening. How are you?
Last month, I talked about some frustration with our local provider of internet, phone, TV, and I know a couple of people in the audience said, yeah, we have some problem with that too. So as I indicated, I brought the information that I have from the August 2021 Consumer Reports, which was entitled Better Internet for Less. And I'll just read the paragraph, and I have copies of this for anyone who wants them. Consumer Reports is working to make high-speed internet accessible to more Americans, and we need your help. Tens of millions of Americans lack access to the kind of fast internet that's needed now more than ever for schoolwork, staying in touch with family and friends. Still more are stuck with painfully slow or unreliable connections or bills they can't afford. So Consumer Reports and a coalition of partners are launching a broadband affordability initiative asking consumers to take an internet speed test, respond to a short questionnaire, and send us a copy of their internet bill. The information we gather will help us learn how much people are paying in neighborhoods across the country, whether they're getting what they're promised, and whether the prices are fair. We need thousands of participants. It's a tall order, but the results will help us pressure the internet companies to do better. As you know, Consumer Reports is a not-for-profit itself. This outfit is called broadbandtogether.org. I'll leave these up there. I did have a conversation with our favorite service provider after the last town meeting. They said they would check into it. A couple weeks later, there was a Spectrum truck at the end of Pinewoods Avenue at 2 a.m. working for about half an hour, 45 minutes after midnight. My service was out the next day when I woke up, and I called again, and they're trying to decide if they can, I reported a number of days and hours. It was over 20 hours during August and early September that I know I did not have service, especially internet. And so we're negotiating a decrease in my bill for that time. So just trying to not be a cog in the wheel here.
Thank you. We'll have some questions and answers, or any more visitors that want to speak, not questions and answers, but more visitors at the end of the meeting. So at this point in time, let's roll into the meeting. All right, the meeting, the previous meeting, the previous minutes of the last meeting. Has everybody had a chance to read them?
I'll make a motion to
We'll make a
approve.
motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's get the reports from our elected officials. Town clerk, Bill Lewis.
Yep, okay. Okay, our office will be remitting $9,275.82 for the last month. Let's see, rounded out, we had $6,613 in recycling sales, both the center and the office. $450 in rental fees. We had 3 new community center reservations. We've had more since then. They're coming in for next year already. $672 on dog licenses. We have 11 new residents. And let's see, $1,560 in other fees. We have vital statistics, $350. Let's see, $500 in DEC licensing. That's for, let's see, what is it? About $9,000 worth of sales. We get something from it. $300 in peddler permits, and then just miscellaneous fees, $67. That's about it. The big thing right now is the hunting licenses are on sale, and it's funny, Sharon should talk about the internet. We were having issues at work today, and we had to turn away 5 hunters. They all walked in, one right after the other, right when the internet went down. But they were here fixing it, so that was the main reason. And that's it.
Okay, I make a motion for to accept Bill's report. Anyone?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Highway Department, Eddie.
Good evening. The highway report for September. We patched roads 5 days, hauled brush to the landfill 2 days, hauled cardboard 2 days, picked up brush along the road 5 days, mowed sides of the road 6 days, picked up bags 5 days, mowed the ballpark 7 days, ditched roads, replaced pipes 3 days, hauled leaves to the landfill 2 days, shared services with Rensselaer County. We paved Deepkill 1 day and closed up the beach 2 days.
What's that?
Yep.
Busy.
I'll make a motion to accept the Highway Department report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, Bill Bradley is, as you may well know, is on a water main break on Pinewoods Avenue, so he will not be here to give us a report today. And let's see, our utilities and building inspector, Charles Golden, is on a vacation day, so he won't be here today. It brings us down to the illustrious Tom Chaffee.
Well, thank you for that introduction. This past month, I prepared the resolutions for tonight's meeting. I attended the special meeting pertaining to the introduction of the budget on October 4th, and I briefed the board members on the budget process and the budget timeline. I've been working with the supervisor's office pertaining to a time and attendance issue involving an employee. I've also been working with the supervisor's office on a large procurement matter. I worked with the assessor regarding an issue involved in the appointment of a new member to the Board of Assessment Review. I've been working with the building department regarding several ongoing code enforcement issues. I attended and participating in weekly meetings pertaining to the overall zoning law update and the changes to regulations pertaining to two-family and multifamily dwellings. That has been involving a lot of work and participating in potential rewrites of portions of the zoning law. I also participated in discussions pertaining to the application to extend Town Sewer District Number 3 in order to accommodate the Hannaford project. Performed legal research as requested by officers and employees, and provided legal opinions and interpretations as requested by town officers and employees.
It?
That's it.
I'll make a motion to accept Tom's report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sharon, come on up here.
Oh, I said last month I couldn't print my report because Wi-Fi was out. No kidding. Today the Wi-Fi went out. It's serious. Just as I was putting my finishing touches on it and I turned on the printer and Windows decided to do an update. If I passed out this report to you tonight, you'd think I was giving you an IXM. Look at it. It's like 0.6 or something. I just couldn't. I can't deal with technology anymore. It's just too much. Anyway, I will try to read what I wrote. Last month, I reported having dedicated an extraordinary amount of time researching the correct name and origins of the Cropseyville GAR post, generally known as the Ensign Post, at the request of the historian of the 169th Civil War Regiment. After reviewing documents on file and available online at New York State Archives and the Library of Congress, we both concluded the official name of this post does seem to have been the Henry Ensign Post, not the Henry A. Ensign Post as reported by the Sons of the Union Veterans of the Civil War. So there, I declare that matter over with. Kudos to our locally owned restaurants, the Plum Blossom and Dunkin's, as both were recently reported by the Times Union as among the Capital District's top 100 restaurants. And this is the second time that I'm aware of that these restaurants have received this recognition. The Brunswick Historical Society President Tracy Broderick and I have been discussing plans for the October 23rd tour of Forest Park Cemetery. The cemetery will open at 1:00 p.m. and remain open for visitors until 3:00. We've indicated on this year's flyer, and I have about 3,000 of them here if anyone wants one, that we will appreciate reservations, a call to the Brunswick Historical Society, but it is not our plan to turn people away because they didn't have a reservation. One thing we do involve a county sheriff every year for traffic control, mostly to preclude people from parking along Pine Woods, which upsets a lot of folks. And we have Historical Society volunteers guide each car almost into a parking place, but only the parking really depends on the condition of the ground. If it's muddy and the cars driving in make ruts, well, we don't want to create additional problems for the highway department, especially during fall pickup season. So the parking The amount of parking depends on the weather. Turnout probably depends on the weather. And this year, our tour is going to be more of a self-guided tour for reasons of social distancing. I'm really reluctant to have 60 or 70 people crowd in around me as I talk to them and pass around photos for a lot of people to handle. So what we're going to be doing is having an informational brochure, which will emphasize the history of the cemetery. We're going to have a map. We're going to have markers. We did have markers last year. We're going to have more markers this year for the main paths. We'll have some signboard exhibits with old photographs. The only thing that I really am a little bit mystified about is how to handle sign-ins. I'm afraid I have always, even if I only had 6 Boy Scouts and their troop leader there, I have always had a sign-in sheet for people, and especially for these tours when you don't, necessarily see what everyone's doing. And if someone should get hurt, I think that attendance record is necessary, but I don't know what to do about the pencil issue. So if we can get enough volunteers, we'll have people with clipboards greet people and write the names for them, I think, unless someone here has a better idea, maybe. I don't know. Any opinion, Tom, as our attorney? You think?
It's a legal issue?
No, I think you were actually one of the ones when I started doing the cemetery tours that said it was a good idea to make sure that we had the names of participants trouncing around. No, but I don't know. I'm getting old. It's hard to turn the wheels.
You and me both, Sharon.
Huh?
You and me both.
Well, there's only a couple of us left that were here, came on board at the same time, right?
You're absolutely
And
right.
you're younger than I am, I know that. Anyway, which reminds me, I don't think I've seen you down on one of the tours. I'll give you a special tour. I especially want to, though, in terms of Forest Park, take this opportunity to recognize Tracy Broderick, the president of our Historical Society. Tracy's had really more interest in the cemetery than anyone else that involved in the Historical Society, to be honest. And she's put forth a lot of effort on the tombstone resetting project. We have spent, I can read this, $10,250 in 3 years on resetting tombstones, and it's a total of 67 tombstones. Now, that's not all that needs to be done, and there's some stones that we probably could never get to look really nice because they have been broken, but these were stones that were either tipped by vandals or just ravaged by the passage of time and Mother Nature. But Tracy's really headed that project up with a lot of dedication, and in the past year, she also took on the chore, and it really is a chore because I've been working at it off and on for years, of getting some information about the burials at Forest Park, more than half of which, don't have a stone. We don't know exactly where everyone is, but she's done a lot of research. She loves genealogy, and fortunately, she's got the perseverance to use whatever's available. We have to first find out sometimes where these people live. Sometimes it's not in the records. As I've said many times, most of the burials are not Brunswick burials. They're people who lived in Troy, Cohoes, any place in the Capital District, and some beyond that. So Tracy is doing a great job with that. She showed me one of 2 binders the other day, about 2 inches thick, with her findings so far. And eventually, when this is finally organized, I'll be giving her information that I picked up on some of the folks over the years, and it'll be available for researchers at the Brunswick Historical Society. I do want to mention last year, when I wasn't showing up at every meeting, I did submit reports, and I indicated in many of those what an outstanding job the residents of Brunswick were doing responding to the 2020 census data collection, most of which they did online. And we were really one of the outstanding towns in Rensselaer County in that respect. I do also want, you read the newspaper, you hear about census all the time, but most of the time it talks about congressional redistricting. There's a lot of good information coming out weekly from the Census Bureau relating to employment, relating to the kinds of jobs that are drawing people, the kinds of work that need people, housing, all that kind of thing, which might be of interest to our elected officials. So you can sign up for those, receive them automatically. If you check the U.S. Census Bureau's website, if you can't find the link, let me know and I will gladly forward it to you. Also, during the lockdown, I spent a lot of time going over pictures I'd taken and oral history interviews I conducted with different people, most of whom have now passed on. Pictures that were donated during my time for the town of Brunswick's archives, and also they usually end up at the Historical Society. But I haven't received much in the last 3 years. I actually haven't received any photos in the last 3 years. I think the last thing I got that was really significant was the pile of Troy newspapers from the 1960s that the lady from Michigan sent me. And they didn't have much Brunswick news. They had a lot of national news, like the landing of the astronauts on the moon in 1969, and they're of interest to young people. I've let some young people look at those, but this is really how we build a collection for future generations. And many times I've said to people, you know, do you have any old family photographs or even new family photographs? Oh, no, I don't really have anything you'd want. Well, I really think sometimes don't prejudge that, because basically we're interested in any Brunswick people, places, organizations. Even if our firemen go march in a parade in Schenectady or something like that. And if you think about it, we do have a crew of people at the Historical Society who spend their time clipping every Brunswick article out of the Times-Union, the Troy Record, the Eastwick Press, some local newsletters. I get a couple of newsletters from churches, and that's how we capture this history to share down the road. It's kids come and look at it for research purposes. So you really are, if you take the time to dig something out, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be from 1899 or 1949. If your dad or someone was in the military and sent some letters home to his parents in Brunswick, or if you have, prom pictures from one of the school districts that now serves Brunswick, anything could be of interest. So please, folks, if you're cleaning out, and especially if you have the unhappy job of wrapping up an elderly family member's home as they have to go to a nursing home or something, that's a good time to look for these kinds of things. Sometimes we might have a news clipping, but most of the news clippings at the Historical Society are post-1960 and whatever some of us have come across since then. And I really love doing the oral history interviews. I started talking to people who were a little younger than I am now, back when I started in 1994, including your dad, Gordy, your grandfather, and talked to Mark's mother once in a while. They were among the first people that I met when I moved to Eagle Mills, the Cipperleys. But the field of opportunity to capture some of these oral histories is shrinking. And also, you don't have to be 55 or 75 years old to share an oral history. We are interested in people as young as Bill Lewis, who've lived in Brunswick all their life.
You realize I'm about the oldest one in this office.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think I'm the oldest one on the payroll, though. So really, if you're please make a New Year's resolution to do 5 minutes of searching around for anything you can give the town historian. And I'm really still frustrated by the fact that I haven't had but one resident step up and sit down and share a little bit of input about how the COVID pandemic affected them or their thoughts on it. That's something all historians are looking for, and there's a whole lot of us that aren't getting a whole lot from folks. So before it leaves your mind, we can do it by email, we can do it in person, I can do a questionnaire, we can do it on the telephone. If you just would put a few thoughts together and share them with me, I would be so appreciative. So thank you for listening.
questions.
Thank you, Sharon. Do I hear a motion to accept Sharon's report?
I'll make it.
Do I
I'll
hear a
second
second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Sarah, you're up.
Hello, happy fall.
Hi.
I want to thank the town for your support at our Fall Fest. The town loaned us a porta potty again. So thank you very, very much. It went really, really beautifully. We probably had well over 200 people. We had 2 Eagle Mill fire trucks. We had goats, chickens, bunnies, the Cookie Shack, upstate Cookie Shack, Living the Dream food truck. But it was a really wonderful community event. So thank you so much to the town for helping us with that. We recently got a $5,000 grant from Humanities New York, and this will help us support humanities-related programming at the library. It will help us buy more museum passes, which we haven't been able to do, and it will help us with more book purchases. We got a $600 grant from Poets and Writers to host a writing workshop, which will be coming up very soon. And we have a socially distanced haunted trail planned for Halloween weekend. We're going to go from October 29th, Friday, all the way through Sunday, which is the 31st. We have volunteers who are going to decorate and make the library very spooky. And we are currently looking for donations of candy and small toys. We're hoping to put together at least 300 goodie bags for our families to take at the end of the trail. I'd also like to say that our wonderful knitting club is back at the library, and we're very happy to see things getting back to normal and to have all of our people back. For library building services, we answered 325 reference questions last month. We had 1,498 visitors. Our study rooms were used 157 times. For checkouts, we circulated 2,964 physical books. When you add in the digital content, it's a total of 5,310 items that were circulated last month. For our programming, Storytime was attended 153 times. We gave out 88 STEAM kits. We had a very lovely Habit Day with 25 people. Fall Fest, this is a guesstimate, but we think that it was well over 200 people for that, for a total of 516 people coming to our programs last month. That is what I have. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sarah.
Do I hear a motion to accept Sarah's report, please?
I'll make the motion.
I hear a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Mr. Lewis, correspondence.
Oh, I'll do that now. Well, as Sarah just so nicely said, she's really good at sending us thank you notes. We got 2, one from a little earlier for Phil and Pat. Thank you so much for including the library in the Town Concert 50/50 series. We were able to raise over $1,000 for the library. We were beyond grateful for your help and support. Okay, I think that came in just after last month's meeting, unless I just repeated myself. Yeah, okay. And as she just mentioned, the Fall Fest, Phil and Bill, thank you so much for supporting the library and once again providing us with a porta potty for our Fall Fest. It was truly generous and helped make it a great and clean day. I love being in charge of that, you know? Thank you, Sarah. That's it. for
That's
that.
it?
That's it for correspondence. Yep.
Okay, let's move into the resolutions.
Okay. All right, Resolution 58, 2021, resolution appointing member to Board of Assessment Review.
I'll offer it.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, hang on. We got to do a roll call on these. So, roll call. Councilman Sipperly,
Aye.
Councilman Christian,
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary,
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington is absent. Resolution is approved. Number 59, 2021, resolution approving and authorizing supervisor to execute land service agreement with Johnson Controls Incorporated pertaining to HVAC equipment at the town office building.
I'll offer it.
You have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Resolution is offered by Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Balistrary. Roll call. Councilman Sipperly,
Aye.
Councilman Christian,
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary,
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington absent. Resolution is adopted. Resolution 60 of 2021, resolution approving 2022 tentative budget as 2022 preliminary budget of the town of Brunswick.
I'll offer it.
I'll second it.
Okay, guys, at this time, we're going to have to set a date for a public hearing.
Let's pass it first.
Why don't we vote on the resolution
Yeah,
first,
we'll do that
okay?
first. Okay,
I'm sorry.
that's okay. Resolution was offered by Councilman Sullivan and seconded by Councilman Balistrary. Roll call, Councilman Sipperly,
Aye.
Councilman Christian,
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington absent.
All right.
Okay, the resolution is approved. Yes, we need a date for that.
November 4th?
4th at
Six-
6 o'clock,
6:15.
6:15.
Okay, for the record, the public hearing will be November 4th here at Town Hall to commence at 6:15 PM. All agreed?
Yes, and I'll get you a notice, Bill, to publish.
Yes, that'll be published. It'll be on our website and also on our bulletin board. Okay. And let's see, Resolution 61, of 2021. Resolution to accept the water and sewer maintenance role for the period of January 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2021.
I'll offer it.
I hear a second.
I'll second it.
Didn't quite hear that. Was you, Mark?
It was.
Okay. Foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Balistrary. Roll call vote. Councilman Sipperly,
Aye.
Councilman Christian.
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary.
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington is absent. Resolution 62 of 2021. Resolution in order accepting petition for extension of Town of Brunswick Sewer District Number 3 to be known as Extension 3B and scheduling a public hearing.
I'll offer it.
Second.
Okay, before we move forward on this one, this resolution in order also sets the public hearing date.
That's what we need to
Set forth
set.
in the resolution, so we need to fill that in before.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, we're going to do that right now. Yeah.
November 4th at
Nope.
6:30?
6
o'clock?
no,
6 o'clock. I
6
think.
o'clock.
6 o'clock? Okay.
Okay, that'll be just before the other one?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so for the record, that public hearing for the sewer extension will be November 4th here at Town Hall to commence at 6 o'clock. All agreed?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we didn't finish up with that one. So we had Councilman Sullivan offered it. I need a second on it.
I'll second it.
Foregoing resolution offered by Councilman Sullivan, seconded by Councilman Sipperly. Roll call vote, Councilman Sipperly,
Aye.
Councilman Christian,
Aye.
Councilman Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilman Balistrary,
Aye.
Supervisor Harrington, absent. Resolution is adopted. That's it.
All right. Let's go on to old business. Is there any old business? Hearing none. New business?
No.
Shall we do? Warrants?
Making a motion, we approve our bills?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any further comments from the visitors?
Hey, Bill, you want to give us an update? Sure. Come on up.
You're out of the trenches.
Yeah, you're even,
Not totally. so.
you're all muddy.
You're dirty.
It occasionally happens, so you
Put the
You got-
camera on right up.
you get paid to work a few times a year anyhow, so we really got to work. This afternoon, we had a break on Pine Woods Ave.
Oh, geez.
On Pinewoods Ave, we had it was one of the hydrant taps that were put in the 70s. They've been failing. That's when I first got here. We had one fail over in Springbrook. Can't recall off the top of my head where those taps are failing. Well, this was another one that has failed. Oh, I know where it was. It was actually near Langstaff. We had one that
Yeah,
failed.
right on Pine Woods across from
Yeah,
Lexington.
yeah. So
Last year.
yeah, so we've been those for whatever reason, whether it's a design flaw in them or whether it's just age or whatever, they are failing. So this is fortunately that's kind of like the good news because it's not like we had to cut apart the pipe and everything else like that. It's still quite a hustle to get everything lined up and keep people. We were backfeeding Mountain View. The valve we did install last year where we had the break further down near Checkerberry, that helped out a lot because that kept most of the people in closer to Eagle Mills in water. So we only have maybe about less than 100 homes out of water. So
I was wondering if I was going to have water to take a shower to come here.
yeah,
But I did.
You had some
Good
anyhow.
job.
Go down to the barn.
It trickled a little bit, but I
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. It's we're back feeding up the hill out of Victoria. Yeah, we're feeding back up through past the regulators. So you got to line a bunch of valves up and you got to do it all in sequence so that you don't damage something else.
Plus the
So
rest of the
now
pipes.
we're doing it in reverse now, trying to get all the air out of the system and going in reverse. So that's working out. Now, just on the business side of everyday business, as most people have probably noticed, the work has started at the Leon site, the Planet Fitness site there, 660 Hoosick Road. They're working on the Kentucky Fried Chicken side right now to get that site established. They got a deadline of the end of October, supposedly, to turn that property over to the owners of the franchise that they're putting in there. So that's progressing. They ran into some issues with poor fill, so they've as of yesterday, they had pulled 1,000 yards of fill off the site because it was unsuitable for a building pad. And they were again taking more material out today. We're at the point where the Hannaford project is just about gotten to the point where they are going to get their final approvals as far as the stormwater and that goes, which would then allow them to start their site work down there. So I expect that maybe in a week to 2 weeks that will start. They will start mobilizing there to, start building. They're under another tight time frame where they want to have the building pad built up so that they can start pouring concrete before the end of the year for the slab for the store down there. And other than that, just the general routines, everything is great. Any other questions?
The gentleman in the back was here earlier and spoke about the drainage on 351 and White Church Road after it flooded with the last storm, the big storm.
That would be near White Church, the crossing that comes down the hill there. Yeah. Is that what you're
If you
referencing?
get a second, would you talk to the fellow in the
Oh,
back?
okay,
and-
okay.
And try to give him some insight of what,
Okay.
because it did, the road and field there, at
Yeah.
White Church was underwater and
Yeah.
351 was underwater and I had a detour to get home.
Yeah.
Myself, so I'm not quite sure where the drainage problem is there or where that goes.
Yeah, not having seen it myself, I know that there was some issues towards the cemetery side, and that takes quite a large watershed that comes in there. It's like
Yeah.
400 by 500 acres.
I'm not so sure, because of the stream that runs behind that one house, whether that runs down, whether it was part of the beaver problem down further down.
No, well, I'll make sure that we're all talking the same thing.
Well, no,
if
but
it's-
right now we were talking about the ball field right there.
Oh, the ball, yeah, the ball field, yeah,
On-
that's,
On White Church Road, right?
yeah,
That whole
Rodens,
intersection
in Rodens
was
Field,
underwater.
yes.
Right.
And there's not only, there's a crossing on the White Church where you go up to the cemetery, and then there's a further down, there's a crossing that crosses the road and takes that down to the Quack and Kill.
So
So-
anyway, we're kind of,
All
we'd
right.
like to know what could be done to alleviate that problem in the future.
We can take a look at it, but these storms have been extreme.
Well,
so-
we know that.
Yeah,
but-
I know, but
But,
I will have the conversation and see if there's something we can do.
Right.
All right,
so if you would address that or.
okay.
Okay. I guess that covers it. So anyone want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? What do we got?
Another opportunity for
Oh, yeah, well, anybody else want to come and speak? I'm sorry. Hearing none. One more shot? Anybody else? Hearing none. Would anyone like to make a motion to
adjourn.
To adjourn?
Go ahead.
I'm not hearing you.
I'll make it. I'll second it.
All
Okay.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, John.
I did. Gordy's got the.